Yo, how's it going, everyone? This is Mitchell Mander here, and welcome to another review of the Boruto anime. We're going to be covering episode 219 in today's review. And this one was an interesting episode, to say the least, because only part of the manga was adapted, because a lot of this episode was anime original, and for better or for worse reasons. Because there are some things that were cut that I'm not a big fan of being cut out at this point, but there's a lot of stuff that was added that I enjoy, so this episode's kind of a mixed bag. But yeah, let's talk about it. But before I get into the review, I just want to say if you're new to the channel, you like this type of content, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It'd be pretty awesome if you would do that. Now, there are a lot of differences between the anime and manga, so this is going to be kind of an interesting review. But I guess starting out, one thing that they removed was Naruto letting Sasuke, Boruto, and Kawaki know about Kurama. The episode basically starts out with Boruto trying to teleport them back to the village. It's pretty much the same as how it was in the manga, but when they return, this is what I liked more in the anime version. Sarada, Mitsuki, Sumire, and Shikamaru were there to actually greet them. And I like how Boruto's like, hey Sarada, I actually am the reason that your father lost his eye, so if you want to punch me you can, but obviously Sarada understands without even saying anything, or just looking at Boruto's face, I should say, that, you know, it wasn't entirely his fault. So I thought that was a little nice scene. Now the next major difference between the anime and the manga is a scene where Code basically is watching the Ten Tails is asleep, and then Ishiki's soul appears in front of him. They cut a lot of stuff from this scene, and the reason they did that is because the anime is heading into anime original content, so we can't dive right into the manga just yet. They cut the scene from the manga with the Otsutsuki god figure, which was quite disappointing. Ishiki telling Code who was responsible for his death, because in the anime version, Code seems to be unaware that Naruto, Sasuke, Amado, Kawaki, and Boruto played a role in killing Ishiki, which I find to be strange. I don't know if this is something they're going to expand upon later, like the conversation is actually longer than it was in this episode. But yeah, it kind of came off as weird, and I'm not going to lie, this was probably my least favorite moment in the entire episode. This was actually something I was looking forward to seeing. I don't mind if it took Code like weeks or months of planning before he actually finds Ada and Damon. Well, I kind of just spoiled two upcoming characters on the manga, but, you know, just know that these are upcoming characters if you're anime only, but not important at the moment. But yeah, I'm kind of rambling on here, but yeah, I was a little bit disappointed with this scene in the anime. That's probably my least favorite part of this entire episode. We have original scenes where Naruto and Sasuke are being checked up by Sakura and Katasuke. And the one thing I liked about this scene is where Naruto talks about how he lost Kurama, and it feels like there's a hole in his stomach, which I thought was a really nice scene. I was hoping the anime would expand upon this, because the manga did a very poor job, in my opinion, of dealing with Kurama's death and the aftermath of it. So I like that the anime added this scene. And they're also checking up on Boruto and Kawaki, as they're 80% Otsutsuki. There's also a scene where they're talking on top of the hospital. They talk a little bit about trying to get rid of Boruto's karma, which they talk about in the manga, but they're on the Hokage monuments in the manga, which that conversation includes conversation about Code, which is not included here because the anime is going into anime original content, so they're holding off on that stuff for the time being. Another original scene is that we actually got some context as to how Boruto was labeled the hero of the village. It seems like as Boruto was leaving the hospital, he saw Dr. Katasuke, and it seems like the media was outside the hospital. They wanted to interview Lord Seventh for saving the village. And then Katasuke's like, well, Boruto was actually playing a crucial role in saving the village, so he's just as responsible for saving the village as Lord Seventh is. And so they immediately fixate on Boruto, and he ends up on TV, which I thought that was pretty funny. That was a nice way the anime tied that whole scene in. Now the next scene that's different from the anime and the manga is the scene where Sarada and the others are watching Boruto's TV interview, because Sumire is added here, and I'm going to get to her probably towards the end of the episode review, but she's looking at the TV very concerned, and they ask her why she's so concerned, and it's that she thinks that Boruto is pushing himself too much. At least that's what she thinks. That's when Chocho's like, hey, class rep, you watch Boruto closely, don't you? And that embarrasses her, and obviously she's like, no, that's not the truth. She has kind of an Ochako moment here. Starts waving her hands around and is looking super embarrassed. And then Mitsuki shows up, and, well, Mitsuki's already there, I should say, but he walks over to Sarada, and he has something to say to Sarada, and as it turns out, Team 7 are banned from missions right now, which, Sarada angrily goes and confronts Boruto, which I want to say in the manga they were already aware of this, but here she's finding it out for the first time and then confronts Boruto. Now, I like the conversation between Boruto, Sarada, and Mitsuki here. Obviously, Sarada's not too pleased that Team 7 can't go on missions right now, but it's understandable because Boruto could just become Momoshiki at any time and just start killing everyone. That probably wouldn't be good, would it? But I like how Boruto actually ends up apologizing and says, hey guys, I'll make it up to you someday. I don't know, I thought that was a nice touch there, but anyways, we move on to the last scene of the episode where Sumire and Katasuke are talking. And Sumire is still concerned for Boruto. And Katasuke over here is like, even Katasuke actually catches on to this. He's like, yeah, we're going to help out young Lord and get rid of his karma. And then he goes to make her some coffee, and then she starts blushing, and she actually says, why am I so concerned for Boruto, as the episode comes to an end. Now overall, I thought this was a decent episode. It's a nice conclusion to the Otsutsuki Awakening arc. But I do have my issues with it, like they cut out certain scenes from the manga that should have been implemented here. I really don't like how Ichiki just showed up, told Code that the reincarnation into Kawaki failed, and he just disappears. He doesn't tell them who killed him, which I thought was kind of bad in my opinion, because that's basically driving the plot in the manga right now. We also didn't get the whole Otsutsuki God thing. I was actually looking forward to that panel being adapted, which the anime didn't do that, which, I mean, they could possibly bring this back later. Maybe they expand upon this conversation later, which is kind of annoying because now we have to wait to see if it actually happens. And yeah, I'm just not a big fan of that stuff being cut. But there's a lot of stuff that was added here that I do like. I like how Naruto's dealing with losing Kurama, Sasuke losing his Rinnegan. That stuff is pretty good. Some of the anime original stuff is pretty good. Now, I like what they did with Sumire in today's episode. I know it may annoy some people, especially those that don't like Sumire, but it's pretty clear to me that the anime is naturally developing her feelings for Boruto. Compared to the manga where she just was already in love with Boruto with no development. But here we see it happening more naturally, which I think is nice. Like in the first arc, Boruto saved her life. In the Jugo arc, Boruto is the reason that Sumire joined the Scientific Ninja Tools team. And here, in the present, she's becoming more and more concerned about him because she knows about his situation with Karma and him being potentially taken over by Momoshiki. So she's becoming more and more concerned and thinking more and more about Boruto, but she doesn't know why. So I like this development. It feels more natural, and I understand now why they cut the scene back in episode 184 where she confessed her feelings to Sarada that she likes Boruto. Yeah, the anime wants to develop this more naturally. Now, in the manga, not to get into spoilers, but there's a scene coming up, if they do adapt it, where Kawaki just straight up asks Sumire if she has feelings for Boruto. Not to get into spoilers. I don't know if the anime is actually going to adapt this scene or not. They probably are, considering that Sumire is actually catching some feelings for Boruto. But I don't know. I just like what they're doing here. They're developing it more naturally. It just feels better. And there might even be an episode where she wonders why she feels this way. Maybe she talks to Chocho or Sarada about it. I know some people might not like this and consider it filler, but it is character development. And I guess we'll see if Sumire actually ends up falling for Boruto in the long run. We'll see what the anime does with her character from here. Maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. Alrighty guys, that's all I got for today's episode review. So overall, a decent episode. There were things that got cut that I wasn't a big fan of them cutting, but there was a lot of additional scenes that I liked, so I'll give this episode overall a 6 out of 10. So in the comment section down below, post your thoughts. What did you think of this episode? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Just let me know what you thought. If you're new to the channel, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And guys, have a great day or night wherever you're at, and peace.